Recording in progress.
Look up, Panasonic quarter phone batteries. You will find a bunch of people yelling about that. And they will sell you a pair of those batteries for $28. Which I didn't buy.
Yay! Something's actually finally happening. Oh, that's right. Art is probably coming here, right?
He sounded a little iffy about coming to the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, he's here in Ohio.
Because he said the flu is around.
Okay. So I had real fun today.
Yeah.
Picking Thea up from school, which is a normal thing. And then Patty texts me and says, "You need to go pick up CJ and Lulu." Why do I need to go pick up CJ and Lulu? Amanda's car, she was getting it fixed. She had new bearings, wheel bearings put on, and they were testing it to make sure that they did it right, and snapped the axle in two.
Oh, wow.
That was nice of them, right?
That's kind of overtaking the axle bolt doing it. Slightly.
She went to this place. She'd been going to this place for a while. And when they were owned by somebody else, and they were really good and they were fairly inexpensive. And I told she needed some work done. I told her to go there. So she's been going. They changed owners twice since then. And the last time she went, they put the brakes on wrong, completely wrong. And she went to another place to have something else done, and they looked at these brakes and they said, "Did you just have this done?" And she said, "Yeah." And it was like 3 or 4 hours later, and they spent like 6 hours replacing these brakes that these guys screwed up on. So I said, "Why do you go back? I mean, they screwed up your brakes. That's a pretty important thing, right? Is it's not owned by the same company that it was owned by when I started going there. Same people don't even work there. I mean, it's completely different deal." And she's like, "Yeah, but the other places told me it was going to be $1,100. They told me no for the wheel bearings.
Okay.
They told me it was $800." I was like, "Okay, but they broke your axle. They did something else. It ended up costing me about $1,100 anyway. They replaced the axle because that was it. They gave her a free oil change for the inconvenience." And I'm like, "Ooh." So they charged you close to the $1,100 that the other places charged, broke your axle and made you wait all day. And what do you get out of the deal? A $40 oil change. Good job. I would have been like, "Give me a car. Give me a car. I'm not waiting around here anymore. You're paying for an enterprise rental car for a couple of days. Do the job right." So anyway, I had to go up to Dayton to get her kids from school. So 3:30, they get out of school at 3:45. And Thea gets out at 3:15. So in theory, there's enough time to get up there and do everything, except that it was pouring down snow and traffic was at a standstill. Because people forget how to drive in snow.
Yeah, that's a thing I'm concerned about the next coming few days. It's raining and it's supposed to be cold tonight, so yeah, the roads are gonna be slick. And traffic on 275 is gonna slow down to 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. So I pretty much have been on the road since 3:15, 3:30.
Oh, sorry.
Up to Dayton. Then I had to drop the grandkids off to make sure that they actually got somewhere. And all I heard was, but why can't they stay and play? Because I got to go to a meeting. They can't stay. We were lucky that we went and got grandkids. You're lucky that you got to sit with them for a half hour in the car and goof off. So that was my fun excitement. That was about the same time that I texted you this afternoon and said, Patty's got me running around. I mean, I guess it could be helped. But I think if I was Amanda, I would have been demanding a rental car or something.
Yeah.
Just. I told her, I said, don't go back to those guys. They obviously don't know what they're doing.
It's really pretty difficult to mess up a brake job.
That's full power there. It'll be 12 millimeter. And then let me show you 50 millimeter. Maybe. If I don't. That's 50 millimeter, big difference.
Yeah.
And part of it's a resolution of this screen. You don't notice things like that. But see, it's kind of blurry now because the light is low light.
Dark, yeah.
Yeah, it's low light. It makes a big difference. But I can read everything now. And that's what I got the 50 millimeter for. I wanted to be able to read the signs on the side of the truck.
Yeah, you need that sometimes. Sometimes with what you had, it was a little hard to decipher those trucks. Yeah. I don't really know what they did to her brakes. I know she went from their place and was driving home and something happened and she had no brakes and she pulled into another shop and that shop was like, these guys could have killed you. I mean,
Yeah, that's enough. Change shops.
yeah, well, that would have done it for me. The interesting thing was apparently somehow or another the two shops, and I had no idea, but apparently the owner of the shop that she went to is somehow affiliated with the shop that she stopped at completely by random chance, and they fixed it for free.
Wow.
Because, and they got on the phone and laid into everybody at the other shop. Two entirely separate names, two entirely whatever. I'm like, that's interesting that they affiliated themselves together and that, you know, the second shop that she stopped at.
Yeah, they may have
Fixed the
both
first
shops.
Yeah, fixed the first shop's problems for nothing. I mean, that was the interesting part. We laid into the first shop for sending her out like that. All right. That's where I would go. They seem like they're on the ball.
They don't trust anybody to work under.
They know. It's hard to find somebody that's decent and affordable. And then when you do, they go and sell the shop to a couple of incompetent people who in turn sell their shop to somebody that's even worse.
Yeah.
So. I said, why do you keep going there? Oh, because they're cheap. Cheap is not necessarily a good thing. Not when it comes to things that have to do with making the car stop and making the car rotate, making the wheels go round.
Stopping and going.
Wheel bearings are important. Wheel bearings put on wrong to break the axle is important. Howdy.
Oh, so you showed up. Long time no see. How you doing? Good, good. Walk forward about it. How do you really? Good. Steve Jim. Hey, Steve. Yeah, you too. What you got, Mark?
He's got
nothing compared to what you guys into. But got a little project that I worked on. Wow. Couple of years back, 2019. There we go. Now I'm a good voice. Good. Let's see what we have here. Oh, I see a Siemens badge. Oh, yeah. Siemens, DISW out here in Milford. Milford. Used to be SDOC a long time. Yeah. You might know a colleague of mine, I think he just retired, Rob Short, he was in documentation. You know, I'm an assistant engineer, so I'm down in the yeah. Which is fun. It is fun. I respect those guys a lot. I would have loved to work there. I worked for Cincinnati Military. Okay. But we got to do vibration analysis. I've been meeting with somebody, Dave Hemmerly, who's in sales. Yeah. Smaller one. I also worked with the Siemens guys up in Lebanon. We had a service group up there. Stevie Upperwoods and Dimitri. I think he moved back to Jerusalem. Yeah. I'm pretty new. I know Siemens is huge. Yeah. I'm pretty new there. My 1 year anniversary of the next Monday. Oh, congratulations. It's a great company. I'm gonna get you and getting wording on calendar. Giving you an official meeting invitation. Oh, you're official now. You're official now. I actually was official because I scanned your website and that op-ed program that I wrote still. I used to come to these meetings. God, it's been. That's been a couple of weeks ago. It's been a long while. I don't even know why. You have a guy on Zoom too? That's me. We usually have a guy in California that's usually there is probably in transit here.
Yeah, he's probably in a plane circling CVG right now.
And last week we had a guy in Idaho also, a laser rabbit the guy that owns Laser Rabbit. Was in Idaho, was that last week, week before last?
Week before, he shows up sporadically, depending upon how he's working.
We taught him bad tricks and he's been playing them on us. He'll be it in his truck and he'll put the office background on it, like he's in the office, except we see the steering. Oh,
They hear the wind blowing by.
snow didn't scare everybody off.
Oh, you missed my great story, and I'm not going to tell it again.
Oh, it's on, it's recorded.
It is.
Yeah. This is recorded. Be aware, Mark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Should have signed the story.
Mm.
I used to actually put a little sign up there that said, "Hey, you're being recorded," and then I did. I don't even know what happened to that. You know, a lot of stuff just sort of disappeared when 2020 came around.
It announces it when they log in. So
Yeah. Yeah, but it doesn't announce it when they're sitting here. You get it to hear that one time. And he was late, so he didn't get to hear it.
never late.
Of course, there is that big thing right there that says reporting up in the corner, but nobody will notice that because it's right there. Right in front of their face.
Are you what, just co-administrator?
Yeah, he's vice president, I'm president.
There you go. Okay.
You
want to be president next year? I'm not sure he wants to, there's so much secretarial work. You know, he won't shave his legs. With my group, at one point, we were fighting over who was gonna get stuck being president.
Yeah.
One of you take it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of that going on. By the way, I'm hardcore.
I'm like,
Mike.
we have a bunch of mics. We have at least 3 mics.
Yeah, at least.
I'm kind of a new old guy. I took some of Jim's servo control or controls programming classes up at Butler Tech back when he was a young guy.
Yeah.
And that's how we hooked me in. So I started coming to these meetings 10 years ago. Too many kids and too many travel trips. So I had to drop out. Anyway, now I'm retired. So watch out. Got plenty of free time.
Sure, is that Thieves?
Thieves, yeah.
Oh, park supplies?
I know a few guys in the parts.
The name looks familiar, but the guy I dealt with called it Thieves. Oh, you need this little paper bag. It might be $75. And you have to wait 3 weeks to get it.
That's the service parts we get it for the vibration group. We had these little donuts. They cost us $2 to mail, but we're charging only $300. Yeah.
You got a presence up in Wisconsin?
We do, G&M. Yeah, I started at Cincinnati.
Along the lake or something.
Yeah, Congo.
Yeah. We got a group on that.
So it was Millicron when I started, but a guy kind of wanted to consolidate, created a group called MAG. And then MAG got bought by a French company, and then part of that umbrella, GML, used to be Ginnings and Looms.
Okay.
And they were up in Colorado. And there was another one up in Canada. Like, it was all part of it.
You can think it was a Millicron part.
Yeah. Are you in a machine? Or?
Yeah.
Cool. They're working.
Still working. Yeah.
I just retired after 40 years. And I had a great run. Sure you do too.
Too many changes.
It is a lot.
You need some laser cutters to cut your paper gaskets out.
Yeah.
Spend a few $1,000 right now and save yourself a bunch of money later. I know a guy who's got laser guys.
Yeah. I went to Butler Tech. You went into the school here, Russell Lee.
Oh, wow.
Right out of high school. Oh, it's a layered thing. Butler Tech and then there's D. Russell Lee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at the site. The D. Russell Lee is the site and Butler Tech is, they have Butler Tech, the place on 63, the farmhouse and they have. So the building I went to was the one on Route 4, just near Bob Evans.
That's
That
D. Russell.
that was D. Russell Lee, but their sign says Butler Tech. Yeah, it's Butler Tech, D. Russell Lee's campus. Oh, okay. It's something like that, anyhow.
They've got Butler Tech at the airport to train drone pilots, which I don't know if they actually did that or not, but they set up
Butler County Airport?
Hookfield,
Oh, okay.
Middletown Municipal, whatever they want to call that now. They were supposed to, I don't know if that ever actually got kicked off or not. There's what, half a dozen different Butler Tech schools throughout the area, Jim?
Yeah, there's one on 775 between here and Monroe. Big, nice big red.
Oh,
Yeah.
Across from them.
Yeah, I think there's one in Hamilton too. I don't know what they do.
Are you still out there, Jim, or are you still?
Oh, no.
You keep down.
Yeah, they kicked me out years ago. It was
You did a fine job as far
a fun time.
as I was concerned.
It was a fun time.
I learned a little bit of PLC programming at Butler Tech, D. Russell Lee. Whichever one you want to call that place.
That's when you were thinking about employment, right?
That was when I actually thought that getting a job might be a fun thing to do. Yeah. I've since changed my mind. A lot has changed. Now all of a sudden, we got grandkids, and guess who gets to watch the grandkids? So my job has nothing to do with programming PLCs. It's pick grandkids up and take grandkids wherever grandkids need to go and watch grandkids do whatever grandkids do.
Well, basically, you're programming them, right?
Right. I play video games a lot. You know, Thea, she's not the youngest. She's the second youngest. She'll come home from school. I pick her up almost every day from school. She'll come home and she'll want to do math problems on the computer, which she's a whiz at them. She's only first grade. And but she said that was because Pat helped her learn how to do math.
And,
So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's got to be something. She used to help me make robots when she was 3 years old, making robots with me. So I'm sure that she's going to have a very fine job programming something.
yeah, yes, we'll have that inferiority. It's not, I can do this.
Right now, she really likes playing video games, so she's going to be doing something in that world, I think, probably. But she's 7, so anything can change.
Yeah. Good feeling. Anything.
Yeah.
My project this week was, I've got security cameras. I got about 30 security cameras. My latest project has been, I've been watching, well, I live on a no truck road. And, so I've been watching the trucks. And I want a better camera, a better, camera to see the, writing on the truck. So
Yeah,
I upgraded from 22 millimeter lens to a 50 millimeter lens.
okay.
So today was not a good day. Yesterday was when I did it. It wasn't a good day because it's overcast. And because we're looking so close, we're moving so fast, it's going to blur easily. So I need more sunshine. But I've got like 3 cameras on the road. I got a full power camera and a regular camera and a wide angle camera. So all of them are handy, have a purpose.
You know, I didn't know it was you, but I'm very interested in cameras. I don't have, my son set up his house. He's in computer programming and he's very security conscious. So he didn't want to do Wi-Fi. Everything's Ethernet and he's got, and he just showed me, he's got a brand new one with like a 10.5-inch display hooked up to his doorbell and have it. I mean, he can read license plates and stuff. But that's really beyond me. Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested in learning that technology. Old guy, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
It little network and you're good. You can do Wi-Fi.
I'd love to learn that.
Yeah, the Link has a full power that I use to read license plate. I can read license plate at the driveway.
By Sunday.
Do you have, is that on the website?
You want to see it? Let's see. Blu-ray let me have the screen.
You should be able to.
That's a why I was bugging. Okay, here we go. There we go with that.
Hi, by Sunday.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, there I am. So there are some of the cameras that I have. As now this dark, it's kind of darkish.
Gee, that's a heck of a network.
Yeah. And the real links, this is a third-party application called iSpy, free,
Really?
runs on Windows
I
only.
like the cost of that.
And Real-Link has pretty good software themselves. It runs on the PC and runs on your phone, runs on the, runs on the phone. And let's see. I can figure out how to do this. Put that down. And that up.
Yeah.
That's real time.
That's Real-Link software there. That's a, you can get that camera for $25.
Oh, man.
It's huge.
She's talking about.
It's a E1 Pro, and you want to get the Pro. Yeah, it's an indoor camera. It's on my front porch.
Okay. How do you power?
It's got a power supply. It's got a hockey puck, 5 volt.
Okay, so you run it into 110.
Yeah, I've got an outlet on the porch.
Okay.
And it is 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi.
You could almost zoom in and see your neighbors there, Jim.
Well, with this particular, if I had a mouse, I could. You can scroll in. It does. That's a 4 megapixel. That's pretty good for a surveillance camera. Let's see if we can go look at the wire-free camera.
What's going on, Vicente?
Yes. Working.
I saw you waving. I thought maybe something was up.
There's a garage. I'm not home. This is a wire-free camera out in the woods. Let's see if I can connect. Yeah, there it is. And it's got a solar cell out there with it.
Oh, I was gonna say, how do you cover that?
Yep, solar cell. It's about 150 feet in the woods, which is pretty good for wildlife.
Yes, it is.
And you can, go look at playback. Okay.
I thought I would really wanted to put there some GDIs with a mouse.
Oh, we saw Fox the other day. We were pleased with that.
Wow.
Oh, I'm on playback then. So this Reelink software is pretty good. And it'll scan through there, but it comes free, it's free. Hey,
Thanks for the tip.
but the E1 Pro is for 25, I buy them used for 25 bucks if you can get them, and that's the deal. And so with the, well, I put the 50 millimeter lens in this week can really help my reading. We'll see. Steve, what you been into this week?
Learning just broad Debian. He's got it.
Debian?
Yeah. Oh,
I got a call, or I got an email from somebody that is interested in I run the Cincinnati Linux user
I was
group.
gonna say, Linux, yeah.
So I run a local group, and fellow sent me an email that said he wanted to join the group, and we were talking, and then he wants to have a computer built. I can do that. He runs just Debian, and I've never actually installed Debian before. Mint and Ubuntu and
I use
mostly Red Hat.
me and my son, we kind of got me hooked on Ubuntu and that there. Did you do actual software, like uploading stuff to Linux, to Debian, or?
Not-
to user group?
Not to Debian now. I've never dealt with Debian. I've got one module in the kernel that I think is still there. That's cool. And some small projects, but yeah, mostly shell scripts. Sure. But yeah, my module is for an old RS-232 card, the Equinox Ford. It was a single PCI card that could host up to 256 serial ports. It worked surprisingly well. That's
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's about this deep and Linux.
I'm right next to that.
He knows more.
Yeah, Linux is.
He's advanced, I'm intermediate.
Put myself in the low end half of the, this is actually a little limits. Into.
What are you gonna do, Mike?
Cleaning up the yard,
No,
riding my bike.
he's got an electric bike, battery bike.
Yeah.
I'm
my fifth one. Yeah,
So what's the latest iteration?
Oh, it's got,
150 miles?
no. It's 25 miles.
Wow.
Didn't even phase the battery power at all.
Are you pedaling some or?
Yeah, this one is torque sensitive. So if you're not pedaling, it doesn't go. But I can fake it out though, but I can put it in turbo mode. It's got varying intensity, but it'll give you a 10% boost, 50%, and all the way up to 300%. So,
That's neat.
so coming home after driving for
12 miles or so, halfway coming back, it's like, I'll put it in turbo. I just move it just scoots up the hills. It's got a nice little LED screen, you know. Gives me all my battery information and mileage.
But you still have to pedal with that one.
But once I got it going, I could kick it up the turbo, and then it also has a thumb throttle on. If I hit the thumb throttle with it, take off.
Does all that really pedal is moving or does it have like chain wheel? The drags on there?
It's all built into, it goes onto the crank. So I actually pull the pedals and all out, and this thing just pops into it. The motor's only about, I think around 750 watt, about that wide.
And it's in the crank.
Yeah, I actually pull the crank out, and it's the shaft of it and gears that just slides right in. Ooh, pop the pedals back on it. And it's, once you get it rolling, and then you put a little bit of torque, a little bit of load on it, you can just give you that boost. So it's got the cadence and torque and.
Where's the battery?
Pardon?
Where the battery?
In the back. Yeah. With 48 volt. Runs nice. Can't wait till the next versions come out. They keep making that stuff
Oh, yeah.
more efficient, easier to use, better pricing on it, and more features.
And keep,
Sell your old one. Buy something else and, you bring it up. They want to get back into robot lawnmower again, no?
Yeah.
I got one that's store bought.
yeah.
It does the backyard, but I was thinking, more and more people out there doing it, where they actually come up with the plans, like, oh, here's the body parts you can 3D print now, and there's some software, a whole parts list. I don't know, around and off the GPS or whatever that other one that's better, ARM or something like that, or it's a GPS will get you within a couple of feet.
Yeah.
They said they got one that'll get you within a couple of centimeters.
The ultra wide bands.
And they got like they're making them now with that as a control, or it's a locator. And you just drive it around, either plug a cable in it or you run it off your phone. And you just drive it around your yard, run the perimeter of your yard until it that's the perimeter.
That's okay, go.
It's free. Yeah, and then you take it over to a tree and go avoid these things, and you drive it around and go avoid this, avoid this, avoid this, and it all remembers it and then maps an efficient path. So it goes around your yard without crashing into things. Mine just goes willy-nilly.
So I like the one, mine went just, it was a Roomba and would just bounce around. But my yard, the backyard looked fantastic like that. I mean, and it started to actually grow and it was green and luscious in the front yard, which we were still physically mowing with a lawnmower, looked like track. I mean, you go the same pattern because that's what you do.
And you're walking on it.
And you're walking on it and it looked bad. So the randomness of the robot, I thought helped actually strengthen the grass because you're not cutting it the same way every time.
Yeah. Could be, yeah. And mine just cuts the back. I don't trust it out in the front yard yet.
I think my old business partner finally came and got that for his dad. Because we moved to the apartment, didn't have a yard anymore, so I didn't have a need for it anymore. So I think his dad has it. I don't know if it still works or not though. When we had it, one of the batteries was going bad in it to start with, and we never replaced it. We just let it run on the 12 volts instead of the 24 volts. Didn't seem to care. But I let it go out every day. I let it go and charge and go out every day. I love that thing. That was the greatest thing ever.
It's entertaining too.
Rain or shine.
Yeah, I mean, it really,
Water.
the only time I ever turned it off was like, when there was snow.
Okay.
Yeah, mine had the water sensor on it.
Yeah.
Just two little contacts up there, so if it gets wet. It goes, oh, it's raining, so it goes back on and docks and.
Yeah, I think the water sensor on mine was on the top, but it had a way to do it.
We bought a second robot vacuum. So I've got a cheap Eufy, which it wasn't that cheap in retrospect, a Eufy from Walmart. But does an okay job. It's over a year old now and it's still coming along. It's doing its thing. One of the few things that I paid for the extended warranty on. And I'm curious at the difference in the maps. This is the map for the Unity. And they both do navigation, so they try to do long straight lines and everything. And if that would work or not.
You have to program that? Is that?
It tells you what the map, what it figures out. And
Mouse floor plan, right?
Well, that's the downstairs. And this is the map from the one that's running around upstairs. Okay, that's the couch. This is the kitchen table. I mean, you can tell what's where and you cannot on the other one. There's a bed in the middle of the other one and it just does not see it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And this is that, so it doesn't have to mention. This is the. Not really. Sort of not very bad, figure out.
So it did its own mapping, right, based on
Mhm.
the bumped into.
Does it have LiDAR?
No, it runs into things. It looks like that one that you brought in, the white one. It's got the same four sensors on the bottom for the step detection. The whole front of it is a bump into things. But it starts out, finds a wall and then runs parallel to that for a while until it runs into something. It was very good at finding all of the corners of the room. I'm impressed. If I get another one, it isn't gonna be a U. But yeah, there's the two maps.
It is,
And I will give, those two rooms are not the same shape.
yeah, but it's interesting that
Those are four rooms.
it's interesting. This one looks like it's a radar generated map, and this one looks like it's
Well, I think it
something else.
does, it bounces around into things and then it says. This is where I bounced. How can I draw straight lines around that bounce out? And the other one just where the map shows, this is where I was. I don't think it tries to do a bounding box in those squares, but
As being
Can you tell if one runs faster than the other? In general, I mean, finish a room quicker.
they're both about 30 minutes. So, and they're both about 200 square feet. Unfortunately, I bought one of the houses that's 3 levels. So
so now you need a third.
maybe in another 6 months or so.
Oh, sorry, yeah, daughter-in-law, myself, my son and daughter-in-law had one of these. And I've only seen it around a couple of times, bumping into my ladies. Anyway, how does it know when it's done? It just goes for 30 minutes and
No. It,
how does it really turn the area?
because it goes around the perimeter to find where things are, and then it goes back and forth and avoids running into stuff. That's one of the big differences. So the UP used to be upstairs where the kitchen table was, and they're both the same diameter as far as I can tell. The UP would get underneath my dining room chairs, and it just took forever to get out. The iRobot, it goes in, goes through, comes back out. I have never seen it get caught in there. It's cool. It was surprisingly good. It also does better straight lines. The UP on Linoleum does a slow curve to the left.
I know, I mean, I've got one of the old iRobots. I've got several of the old.
I was gonna say, how are you
Got several of the old iRobots, but they've got encoders on their wheels, so they will go straight. So they will.
I'm pretty sure the UP did too. Just,
If it's veering off in one direction,
it's not a lot. But it is definitely, it travels in an arc. I just think one wheel is a little bit tinier.
it could be part of their weird algorithm too.
Yeah,
That mine just bounces around. Mine's the old model, like the old model, and it just bounces around.
How does it know it's done?
It doesn't. The battery, when the battery slowly goes and finds it's
I
home.
think my sons might be like that too.
this one doesn't do that. It's got a good solid hours worth of battery and it's never used it.
Yeah,
I checked when it gets back to the docking station, it's at
well,
55–60%.
mine. It'll stay out an hour and 15 minutes, but when the battery gets down to a certain level, it decides that it needs to go home. I rarely let it stay out as long as the battery, because the rooms are so small. I just go and hit the button and tell it to go home.
This one, the way the two rooms are set up, there's a dividing wall and a doorway through. And it starts at its charger, cleans in there, and then goes into the kitchen. And when it finishes, when it gets to that last corner, it beautifully just makes a nice pretty arc all the way back to the charging station, which you can't see until it gets within 5 feet of it. So,
Yeah, but the difference is it actually makes a map. It knows where it's at,
yeah,
or more or less where it's at.
I'm impressed. And it was the same cost. The UP we got a year ago at Walmart, and it was on special. And being Walmart, I paid for the extra 2 years of coverage on it. And it was $300. The iRobot was $300 at Sam's Club. It does have the same little light sensor thing that sticks up on the top, which I don't think is LiDAR. I think that's just find the home base.
That is infrared.
Okay.
And
And there's one on the home base too.
so if you actually had a remote, if I could get you a remote, because I got a bunch of them, you could actually drive it around yourself.
That's one thing. The UP I can drive through my phone, but by robot I can't. Okay.
But the iRobot probably is using a more advanced instruction set than the remote that I've got. But the generic remote that I've got should be able to make it go forward, back, and left and right and whatever, because I mean that's just a basic instruction set for it. So you actually could make an Arduino with a infrared transmitter and do it. But oh, Vicente disappeared. There he is. What you been into, man? He can't hear us.
What you been into, Vicente?
Anything new? Anything new?
Excuse me?
New,
No, nothing new. Just
Nothing.
working. Working in the same thing. And repairing some stuff. But nothing to show.
We has been working with camera doing object recognition.
ESP32,
Yeah,
color recognition. And tracking. And sound tracking so that he knows how far away distances are.
they don't go triangulate and stuff outside.
Yeah.
The sound location is almost ready. I need to finish.
I want that. I need that.
Does it do, like Doppler? Is that the sound method?
Huh? Excuse me?
Is it like a radar, or like a Doppler?
Yeah,
type?
no, using beacons and sending the sound signals and measure the distance between the robot and the beacon.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This is,
Yeah.
Are you in California?
No, he's
no,
in.
I mean, I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
He's in Lebanon.
Exactly.
Somebody from California, I thought that was you.
I was planning to be there today, but
That's at
I
California.
couldn't. And
Well, it's all right. It was snowing and whatever. I'm surprised everybody's here anyway.
today the sound is pretty bad. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I hear echo.
I don't know why. I don't hear an echo. Hello, hello, hello. Echo.
A guy from California is a technical school teacher.
And he's probably on a plane or just landed at CVG. He was coming in here.
Is he from here or from California?
Yes.
He's from
New
New Jersey, California. And he claims to like New Jersey, said there are nice places in New Jersey, and I'm like, oh, okay.
They're stationed Fort Dix. All I saw was that. So, no.
I think officially he's from Columbus area, but
Yeah.
officially he's from everywhere. So
And he got a house out in California. His daughter lives here, so he spends some time here sometimes and some time back there.
yeah,
I used to work with the guys that traveled and installed machines and stuff. And a friend of mine had a house, lived in Cincinnati, but he was a member of what he liked playing pool. He can play pool up in New Jersey, he's in the league. He's just gonna play pool. All the company died, so he was.
What happened to the printing presses? Did they do the printing to,
How'd you know that? Was I up at date?
yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I used to work for Dayton Daily News.
Yeah.
Kind of a side gig, side hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shut that all down.
Was it the Indianapolis?
Yes.
I kind of heard that.
Yeah.
Huh.
the up there in Franklin, the big
Springboro. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, right on 75.
Yeah, you've been here before you showed up.
I didn't know you.
I might have helped make some of your UV equipment.
But you did.
I live like blocks away from that building.
I mean, it really.
It's I don't know where it is now. It's not the Dayton Daily News building anymore. It's something else.
Yeah, that building on 75 was called the Print Technology Center. The news actually published in Hamilton, I think the old NCR building or something like that. And they would electronically feed it to print the papers. And it was one of the most modern facilities, which allowed them to take electronic feed from the New York Times. And we used to print the Times and the Wall Street Journal.
Wow.
and distribute, locally, and guys in Louisville would come and pick it up and stuff. So, yeah, it's state of the art at the time, but
Yeah, that business is changing, I'm sure.
well, it was also owned by the Cox Media Group. And Cox, the main family Cox, I think there's one of the original woman who inherited all the fortune. She's getting up in age, and I think they wanted to sell off. So I think they're concentrating now on electronic media, cable and stuff, and telecom, and they're getting rid of their TV station and radio, and obviously newspaper.
Cox Media was huge at one time.
Yeah. It was I love that job, even though it was just my second, kind of like my gig. Oh,
It's your turn.
I'm through it. I'm gonna be out there. Here. Yeah, I mean, the girls, you guys, I took still. And I can't show you anything. Well, I'm gonna have to read your picture on the park. So, it's down, actually, because it's been 2019, but this is one of the projects I am. See, I don't know, so we're because I complaining the weather's too cold. So, this is a Arduino Nano. Is that right? Got it, actually. And then, I think this is a BHT11. Got it? I think they have a 22 out of that. Got it? The 22 is white. This is I think it's 24 yeah, they guessed that, and I think it's a transmitter and also a receiver model. I guess they came together. The only thing about this I remember was when I bought it, Amazon. I think there might have been battery. It might have been, but anyway, I remember when I bought it, the pins on this connector module went down. And if you plug the thing into a breadboard, you don't want it. So I had to unsolder those and resolder them all up. And then it worked on the board. So that's that's a transmitter unit, and it runs with the Nano. I got it programmed using the Arduino software to spit out temperature and humidity like once a minute, I think. This is a carrier board for you. It's got the 5-volt regulator on it because the internet we were learned was pretty sensitive to voltage changes. So you couldn't power it directly from, or you could, but it was much better to run through capacitors and other stuff. So that's why you did that. You just didn't know that's why you did. I was good. That's what you did.
Well, that Merck transceiver, we were impressed buying that.
Yeah, they work really well when they work.
They work pretty well. Maybe the 22, maybe I should upgrade now, but I have this module is kind of my main server. And I have that in my bedroom. And then you go down the hallway, we've got a 2-story, and it's the last bedroom. And so there's a couple of walls in between. And every once in a while, I got to go in and jiggle if I had soldered the connections, I'm sure it'd be a lot better, but it's just pushing the limit. And then I also have one downstairs in the first floor, so I can see there's an amazing delta from upstairs to downstairs. And ultimately, I was thinking, well, maybe I can program some dampers or something I had to start somewhere. Yeah, and then this is like the receiver unit, or basically the command station, that network server. It's a Raspberry Pi. I use 3B. There you go. And then the same transmitter here on this end. And, this is running the Linux, the Raspberry Pi Linux. The Raspbian, yeah. So, it was, I kind of had to modify the software that. It's basically the same logic, but this one runs in Arduino, this one runs in Linux. And they talk to each other, and then, I went with the Pi on this one because then I could, like my son, like I said, he's an IT guy. And he, helped me, did most of the work, program the web server, which I don't have that, it's only in my house. I don't know how to go to the outside world. I'm not sure I want to. But anyway, he used a program, GoRang, I think it's a Google app. And we use Nginx for the web server software. And so it goes out once a minute and updates the database, and then the Pi goes to the database, plots temperature on it. Because of this GoLang, apparently I think it had a built-in graphics. It was pretty easy to program. Yeah. And I would love to bring it in, but I'd have to disconnect too much stuff. But I think I also shared with you about my sub monitor. That was a similar project.
We saw the wire going down. We said that, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's an ultrasonic sensor, we guess.
It is an ultrasonic. Exactly. That was so cool too, and I don't remember the model, but I couldn't believe that ultrasonic would bounce off water and come up. However, there are standing wave issues, so it gets to a certain level and it kind of loses itself. I think because of the acoustic, the Doppler waves, but then it goes real low, then it can, so it's some kind of refraction thing, but in general, it works, amazing.
Probably alleviate that by putting something sound absorptive on the bottom of the lid. So it didn't bounce back and forth.
Yeah, I thought, and initially there's some negatives because I had a sump pump, and because of where the pipes were, I think there was an echo too, but then sump pump, it didn't go out, or I would have sensed it, but I was getting a little nervous. It was 20 years old, so I went and bought the bullet and bought a new one, and the new one was a little different, higher. My level's a little higher now.
Yeah.
Man, it's like too much difference in water level constantly. I got all kind of cracks in my basement floor now that never were there before. Like coincidence. There's a lot of pressure. Anyway, yeah, the cellular is really the neat thing, and that's how we got the GoRang and the graphics. It's cool to watch the level and it drops, and it's like a exponential.
Yeah, we noticed it.
But the main function of that thing, I took a bottle of water, and emptied the water out, and I filled it up so it just boiled enough that it would trip a micro switch. Click, 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 and I got that hanging with a piece of fish line. And when the water gets up, it floats that bottle, click, and then it sets a bit. And then it'll send me a note on my phone. It'll send me an email. Hey, check your friggin' pump meter. And
You're not the only one to do the level, graphing the level from sump pump.
really,
Frank
Frank did.
did. Of course, he did the database. Frank's a database kind of guy.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
I miss Frank. Has anybody heard from Frank lately?
He'll show up again. But next time he has to do a demonstration of his new thing he's gonna teach people. He teaches down at
Cincinnati
Cincinnati
State.
Yeah,
well,
he'll show up. What?
I don't know what you would call it.
It's more Votech.
Yeah.
He did the Arduino and, various stuff. They've done both apps.
It's, the couple of times that I was down there to,
He did
help me.
Microsoft. He was,
Yeah.
Microsoft,
it's
it's visual, see,
Okay, oh, yeah, vocation.
yeah, and they do like a contest thing, and then they win prizes, and he teaches them like the basics, but he teaches them how to win these prizes, how to win. And he's had some students come out pretty well, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Brian? Brian was one of the students.
yeah, be interesting to see where Brian is. He went to college.
Brian was building a walking robot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's talking about the advantage of pneumatics, of a walking robot.
So Frank's a good guy.
Who's the guy that had the two-wheeled robot? With the camera on it?
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen him in years, probably since right after
I think
that.
I saw that on your webpage, and I mean, my jaw just dropped. I kind of Googled some other stuff. I think whoever this gentleman was, I think his focus was more on the camera part of it. But when I saw that two-wheel robot, two wheels, but standing up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like teaching a robot how to ride a unicycle. I can't even.
It's talking about a vision thing, his phone was the viewer. And he had that. It drove around two wheels. It was really balanced. It was amazing.
And he had the sensor on his body, so that if he turned,
Oh, yeah.
it was steer too.
Yeah,
His motion, his whole like joystick, the controller thing had a gyro in it or something. Full disclosure, my job when I was employed at Marathon, I was a servo engineer. So I didn't do a lot of software, but I did a lot of servo tuning and optimization and games and the last part of my career, I was working on robots, six degree of freedom articulated robots. And I mean, I wrote a lot of equations, kinematic equations, analysis stuff, and it was like, how in the hell do you control these two wheels? Wow, I was impressed. I'll look into that. I think my grandkids would.
that was the thing. They had the algorithm to do that back in those days, and I'm sure it's old hat now. Wow.
I worked at Emerald Corporation years ago up in Mason. And it was an aluminum mold, and there was J mold in Japan. J mold was the American mold, and J mold was, and you made wheels for whoever would buy it. Rims were on Corvettes and Toyotas and Chevys and whatever. But we had about 40 robots in the building. And there was one huge one in the middle. We had a bunch of lines coming in. And this one big robot would grab a rim, drop it in an optical station to identify it, and then put it in one of 6 outfeeds. And every once in a while, it would grab the rim off of the optical station and go up to get to the other side because it was the shortest path. And if the air pressure was running a little low, it would release that rim. There was a big spot on the floor. It was marked off with yellow and black tape. Don't stand here.
Watch for falling lines.
Yeah. Like, why is this doing this? Well, we can't make it stop. And so I told it there was an obstruction above it. So if that wasn't the shortest path, it was another. So they took the tape off the floor.
I thought you were going to say that was the old Cincinnati T3 robots.
Oh, I don't even remember what it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Canuck. And however they want to pronounce that. But we had a bunch of Millicron equipment up there, automated lathes and stuff. We had 30-ish lathes. And huge paint, well, 2 paint years. It was an interesting company to work for. not fun. But it pays so well.
On the Chinook Panic line, I asked the guy that worked there, how do you pronounce it? And he says, well, it's like being in New York or Georgia. He says in Japan, they pronounce it differently in the north and south. He says that both are acceptable.
Yeah.
Accent.
Those were neat machines to work on, and the coolest thing you had there was a coordinate thing.
Quarter measure machine.
Yeah, granite slab, about 18 inches
You
thick.
know who made that?
It was a Mickey Toyota.
Oh,
It was $200,000 worth of slab, I'm sure. But it was accurate to 100,000th of an inch anywhere in its envelope. Had this little ruby sensor on it. And I got points there because that was a thing that I was willing to open up and see what was broken on it. But yeah, that thing was cool. And they were destroying the table. Couldn't throw the runs up on there. It had two stops so that they could always center them in the same spot. They never moved that around.
right.
So, yeah, I mean, there was visible wear on the table. Ooh, yeah. I didn't thought about that.
We were supposed to have somebody come in and lap your table flat. That's what we used to do. We had,
Well, you need 3 plates to do that. And I don't know how you're gonna turn that thing over to do it.
oh, they would lap over the top. We used to have a guy come in and have, put a laser on there with a little device, and he would look for a high and low spot, and then he'd sit there and put lapping compound and sit there and roll, always lap it around and then check it, look for high spots, and this was on a slab that we probably about 2.5, 3 foot thick, and 7 foot long. Yeah. Was part of our quality things. That slab had to be flat. Sure.
You used to have guys. They turn the laser and stuff, same technology, with a red compound, whatever, and they had it to the high spot. These guys would have these sprinklers, long stick, and they moved right where it was just peel that off, and then you do it again. Hours.
Yeah. They tried to do that on a lathe and it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, great, Bob. What are you doing?
Me, I'm a monitor here, honestly. Class monitor, file monitor. I've been, I usually tinkering with my cameras and stuff. And this is what I go for. I'm chasing trucks these days. And here's the trucks from this week.
Oh,
There's a Ferguson truck.
wow.
This is a Ohio cat rental dump truck.
What does that say? No trucks.
Yeah, no truck road is what is the red. I put a label on them, and where that goes, you can see those online. If you look up my name, you'll find me. There are thousands of them. I've got 500,000 views on Google Maps. And it's these guys saying, this guy was on a no truck road. And it's not legal to be here. And now I know the cops, so I know the captain up there, so I sent pictures to the captain. These are big, some of these I sent to the captain.
Now I'm starting to piece together. I think he's working on this optical recognition stuff, right? So you can tell if that's a truck and not a car.
Yeah, we need to get that.
It's easy. It's a good together.
I don't think the pickup truck counts. The pickup truck? The pickup truck? Oh, let's see. I'll show you what the deal is with that. You see that? Okay, there it is. There are 2 vehicles. And that's my new No, this is, let's see if that's a new one of the, that's the 4X camera. There, that's a real link,
Nice.
full power, and it zooms. The zoom is useless to me. I'm fixed. I just want to see that telephone pole over there.
Well, so you got hummingbirds too.
Yeah, I used my, wire-free camera to look at the hummingbirds.
So tell me what does wire free mean?
You don't have a power supply there, you got a solar panel typically. Wire-free means there is no wire, there's no hockey puck. It's a battery inside. And you set it out there and it uses very little power. It has PIR, infrared motion detection, and it can sit there for months. They used to use them.
Well, wait a minute, but so wireless, what's wire?
Wireless means you can communicate with it without.
But it would still have the
Free means you don't have a wire.
Okay.
There is no power supply.
But sometimes wire free means you gotta go back out, retrieve the camera and charge it up if it doesn't have a solar panel.
Okay.
And
Well, the ones I had, they were just little round smooth things.
yeah,
Worked for a law office a year ago.
but
And
they have them that last months,
yeah,
like the ones he used, the Argus.
no, they weren't Argus.
And Argus, they were Arlo.
Arliss, yeah. By Netgear. Though Netgear dropped that line, Arlo is now their own company, but they had a battery that was about 1.5 inches cube. And they would go 3 months on a charge. We had one office where the attorney there just hated the thought of a wire, an angle across the wall.
Oh, yeah.
So she would unplug it. And I'd call her about every 2.5, 3 months. And plug it back in, please. That was my job.
But you know, I'm kind of out of the woods and where I am, you saw where I was.
Yeah.
It's too much brush. It won't keep them charged. You really need to put it in a place that has direct sunlight. You really need that.
Yeah, the more motion it sees, more often it triggers and transmits and everything, so the less time it runs. Outdoors, it would not do so well.
The PIR is really nice though, because the ones that just use motion outside, everything will trigger it. Leaves, wind,
Oh, yeah.
the PIR eliminates. I've got a lot of trail cams also. And they're 6 months. You can put them out there 6 months at a time.
Because they only take a picture when you see them.
Right. And then they have motion, they have audio. They're good. And some of them are like 9 megapixels. You can get a 9 megapixel, for less than $50. Good pictures, excellent audio. Man, the last 6 months at least.
Is there a difference between the trail cam and what you have?
Well, the wire-free ones are real surveillance camera, and you can download the picture dynamically. With a trail cam, you put it there and you go get it and unload it, or take the chip out of it, unload it. The wire-free, it's nice, but if you're just looking for animals and stuff. And now the latest things, they have the trail cams for 150 that are cell based. You put the SIM card in it. Yep. And the latest burglar alarms are cell phone based. You put the SIM chip in it, and you can buy it for for $10 a month. You can get a SIM chip for them.
Yeah.
And they're not expensive.
So it'll call your phone?
Well, it basically is a phone.
Yeah, it turns it in.
And you can call it.
Yes, there's been motion,
Yeah.
and then you can connect to it and see what happened.
Well, I had a burglar alarm that was SIM chip, and it would call you, or you could call it. And you could talk through it if you wanted to, whatever. I got too early into that. They discontinued The fourth generation, this is like second generation, and they started discontinuing some of those. So, but they do sell them now, and they're not expensive at all. I have a new burglar alarm system that I like that's uses texting. Yeah. It just, it's Wi-Fi, but it'll send you a text on your phone. And I really like these. I mean, they're like, I paid like $30 for one, and it was perfect for what? But it had the motion detectors, and they could be plugged into 5 volts. The motion detectors usually you have a battery in them, and the battery goes bad. And this one actually had a power supply for the main unit. The main unit had a ultrasonic detector in it, motion detector in it. Okay, just in the base unit. But you can also have a remote motion detector, and the motion detector, you had a 5-volt adapter for it, which is wonderful. I never, like the one in the barn, which I never go out there. So you just plug it in, and it's got a battery in it too. The power goes off, it still works. Interesting. And also, I have so many cameras, you get distance is a problem. So I've got a wireless access point outside. It's wired to your router and plug this into your wireless access point and stick it up somewhere. You're good to go. You say like a range extender? Yeah, exactly. Except with a range extender, if you look at those, you're typically going to half the speed because you're receiving the Wi-Fi and you're retransmitting. They have those. And if you're not doing a lot, they're fine and you never notice it. But if you have 30 cameras, like some people I've heard has, the wireless access point is really nice. You're connected, basically that thing connects right to your route direct. Okay. And so you get good throughput. And that's how I can have a camera out in the woods. I got a wrap in the backyard.
I think if I had to have 30 channels, I would give it to a single man.
A video to the cops of a guy breaking into your mailbox? No. I have. Have you ever had anybody steal kayaks off your front porch that had been delivered?
Definitely need 30.
What about just pulling in your driveway to take a pee?
Yeah, I got that's my next word. He opened the door and his girlfriend in the car with him. He put a book in the dry and opens the door and there you go. And the guy with the beer cans, there were the beer cans out in my driveway. And he made the mistake of throwing the receipt out. Here he bought the beer. And I gave that to Captain. And Captain said, I'll be glad okay. So yeah, you need cameras.
It's like, why put in somebody's driveway, off the wood, off the side of the road?
There you go.
Yeah. Let's not go another couple of blocks to the restaurant down the road.
So, I live on a 2-lane road and it's falling apart. And now the pictures of the trucks back to recent, and I'm working, and we got new no truck signs out by the red lights now at the end of the road. And we're starting to clamp down on them, slowly getting it done. But the road it's falling apart, seriously.
The road is falling apart.
The road is
The road is scary, right there next to his house. So
the snow line in the back, it's broken off and falling off the road.
That's neat.
It is. And here's the other thing, okay? I'm sitting there having a good time. People coming down my road, running off the road into the ditch, coming up my driveway and running over my mailbox and knocking over a small tree that was there. Okay. How many times did that happen? 3 or 4.
Enough. Two, and once was too many.
I'm surprised you haven't put one of the battery powered cameras at the end of your driveway and down the road.
I'm actually surprised he hasn't.
I've actually tried that. The problem with all of the cameras is if you get close to a car that's doing 35 or 50 or 60 miles an hour, and that's another problem. It's too blurry. You can, if you look right down the road at them, you could do that. Somebody comes in my driveway and has a front tag, which they don't have to anymore in Ohio.
Yeah.
I can get their tag. Yeah, but getting close, I've tried several cameras getting close in, but they have to be too fast. They have to be, and it just blurs. If you get the right angle and you're looking right down the road, you can do pretty good. You can get them sometimes. But it's hard. It's an art form. It's like solving a problem. It is like my new 50 millimeter lens. I can see really close now, but if it's overcast, I can't. It's dark. It's blurry. It's a trade-off. You get further away where you're not so close, then it doesn't blur, but you can't see the writing. Some of the writing you can see.
You solve that problem.
So that I'm retired, so I got time to kill. So now. And so now the trucking companies, Yellow Freight, Southeastern,
They don't like Jim.
they know me, yeah. And now it's, I put them up, what I do is put them up on Google Maps, let them know, and I'll call them and talk to them, and then, the police department's been very helpful. Now, like, day before yesterday, truck went by, AAA Cooper is parked on Maid Industrial. And, oh, okay. Good. So we're working on it. But, we got to do something because the road is,
What sort of fine do they get?
he called it a citation. But, they were actually hauling in pavement into the new subdivision down there. And they got the sheriff involved in that one. Yeah.
I mean, is there another route that they can do?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Because
That's just longer.
because you gotta allow local traffic.
Well, these guys are going through Middletown and coming up Cincinnati-Dayton Road and turning at my road. Yeah, okay. Well, they could just go down to 63 and come down and go, we got a new subdivision.
They're supposed to go down to 63 and down to Salzman or Yankee.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's longer. They don't want to. I mean, and these dump trucks, have you ever seen an 18-wheel dump truck? That's what they were. It was fully loaded with pavement. Oh,
Down on Salzman Road is a bunch of warehouses and industrial-ish things, and that's where the trucks are supposed to go.
That's how I found out where Bed Bath and Beyond warehouse was. They've got a brand spanking huge warehouse on Salzman. Yeah, brand new, never been used. They're not finished with it. And you heard what the guys from Bed Bath and Beyond did. The CFO did. Jumped out of a 9-story building.
I really thought you were.
Right? Yeah.
They were going bankrupt or something?
Yeah, yeah.
My girl kind
They-
of CBS stuff.
They closed like 700 stores or something like that. Yeah, I don't know if they.
8 months ago, somebody stole a semi truck and drove to the Bed Bath and Beyond warehouse in Monroe and stole a whole bunch of beds and baths and beyond. And they stole a semi truck to steal a bunch of.
Hilarious.
They pulled up like they had a freight order and everything, and just they loaded them up.
No.
But I'm surprised the trucks, if they see the sign, if you're familiar with, kind of old Westchester, Cincinnati Dayton Road, and then Westchester Road. Well, Westchester Road goes for a while, and then it was literally like a 5 mile an hour. Oh, yeah, you gotta go in that tunnel. Well, there's this big sign there at the corner of Westchester, flashing lights, no trucks. And once in a while, you can still get a truck. They can't get through.
The other end of the road that I live on, they actually put a no truck. I had trouble getting just a no truck sign, it says no through traffic, which we don't know what that means.
Yeah, right.
But the other end, past Yankee, they got a no truck sign up there. Well, I don't know what that was about.
You read that.
Yeah, well, the reason they put that there is they went through there was that dog leg in the road, and somebody tore was so high, they tore the transformer off the pole, and they had a bobo down there. Now, also, the police captain lived down there too. I had something to do.
My dad was telling me there's a detour out in Eaton somewhere, and there's a old covered bridge out in that area. He said, so the detour, they routed everybody around this covered bridge, but there's a truck driver that decided that he needed to go through the covered bridge and completely destroyed it. And apparently he was stopped by the locals, and the locals told him he was never going to get that semi truck across that bridge.
Oh my God.
So he did it 2 days in a row. The first day, apparently he backed up and turned around and went the other way. And the second day, he just decided to go through it.
Couldn't make it,
I mean, that not only the damage, but probably history involved. You don't see a lot of covered bridges.
But he said pretty much the same thing, that there were signs up everywhere that said no through trucks, no truck drivers don't care.
No,
If they can get away with it, they're going to get away with it.
it's a shortcut. Now we have a new DHL at the other end of my road.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And apparently they only half listened to the locals, because Dad said the locals went out and tried to stop him the second time, and he just kept on going.
The police don't have the resources to police that. They really don't. And we're just now getting some attention, because I never saw them. And as you may have guessed, we have quite a few miscreants out there. Hot rods, including this guy at one time. We got the Monroe miscreants. Oh, man.
I claim ignorance.
Yeah. Yeah. Jump from the railroad track to Yankee Road, that's quite a jump.
I claim ignorance.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's,
Again, I was 16, so
It was older. There's one really good bill on top of it. I did it pretty quick. About 5 years ago.
I'd probably be the same
yeah,
thing, only
There's no railroad tracks near it. Or maybe I'm not thinking of content.
you're probably not thinking of the time.
If you're on 63, you come to the top of the hill and you can turn, if you're coming from Monroe, going toward Route 4. You go through Monroe, and then there's a long kind of dip top of the hill, and you can take a right up there.
You're
So
probably-
dead end into Todd Under?
Yeah,
Okay,
so you're probably thinking of Britton Lane.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about, I don't know, not very far from that, the top of that hill.
Right.
now, this man has been into all kinds of stuff. I mean,
He's been there to serve it. I can see it already. Well, yeah, I was saying that the big difference of these two stories was, I think when you were 16, they probably didn't have guys with 30 cameras, but.
Yeah, yeah. When you're
That was a long time ago, but that area was not built up the way it is, and there wasn't a stop sign at the bottom of the hill either. You could just go down the hill and hit the railroad tracks and go, whee.
Yeah, I know where the railroad tracks you're talking about, Ida, further down.
Yeah, picture that
Closer
was,
to the end.
yeah. Picture that without the stop sign and the hill was slightly better at the time and
Yeah.
there was not quite as much traffic out there. And definitely not, no semi truck. The biggest danger to doing that was if there was a train on the tracks.
Yeah, choo-choos go quick through there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I was 16, I was stupid, so.
When I was 7, I lived in Hamilton, right behind what's the courthouse now, corner of 3rd and Maple. And there's all these railroad tracks out there. And one day, me and my best friend were sitting there, and there's a bunch of trains loaded up with army equipment. We figured they were headed up to Middletown because there's only people up there. And so we hopped on the train because we wanted to go rabbit hunting. So we each got a 22 rifle, and he had a 22 pistol as well.
Perfectly legal with that.
Yeah.
Well,
Pretty much, yeah.
Nobody talked anything.
I was, well, in my grade school, we had a shooting range on the 3rd floor. And we brought rifles to school on the school bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no big deal. Nobody ever got
Okay, well, I think pistols, maybe you had to be 18. But long guns, no.
But anyway, so we hop on the train. And it starts picking up speed and goes right through Middletown, and that thing didn't stop until it got north of Milwaukee.
There's something surprised us about this guy.
Rabbits. We both had a backpack and a little bit of food and a change of clothes. That was it. And we started hitchhiking back to Cincinnati.
With guns.
With guns. In spot. The cops picked us up, carried us to the other edge of town, and dropped us back off.
Yeah, they just didn't want you walking through town with guns.
Yeah, they just didn't want us in their town. That's what it was. And we ended up, we've got our thumbs out, and we were living in Hamilton at the time. This guy picked us up in this old blue station wagon, a Vista Cruiser. Yeah, it was. My friend's in the back seat. I'm in the front talking with this guy. And it turns out that the car had been in storage for 12 years. He had just gotten out of prison for robbing a bank in Hamilton. So he was headed towards Cincinnati in the first place. And I'm like, oh, crap. But he seemed to be a relatively nice fellow, and he dropped us off not too far from home. We never did tell him where home was. But hey, it was a great story.
We got about 2 minutes. Just for whatever. I got a question for you,
Okay,
I think. You said that your sub pump texts you?
it doesn't text me,
Okay,
it sends out an email.
okay.
And that's,
And it gets,
yeah, I don't know how to, I don't think I have anything that does text. I'm sure I asked my son.
If you,
Because I said that, sorry.
you can send email to a service that will send it as an SMS.
as a text.
For mine, I technically was straight talk, but my service is through Verizon. And so I can send to my phone number at vtext.com,
Oh, cool.
and it comes through as a text.
Yeah.
So every time I log into my server at home, or anybody does, I get a text log on alert, you can log on at home.
No, cool. Is it, I mean, I think that it's pretty reliable, you know, if I go down to basement, I'll click it, and I gotta wait a minute.
Mhm.
And then, you know, and it also sets a bit, and I think the server upstairs also wired up a little, buzzer. Because sometimes in the basement, I initially had one of these with a buzzer on it, but I couldn't hear it, it was in the basement. So my son got another server, he does backups at my house on his software. And I plugged it into his and wrote a script to, check the bit, if the bit's set, then send the buzzer, now it's upstairs, I can hear it.
Nice.
But if I trip it and it sets off the buzzer, then it'll send me an email, I did it. But do you think text would be more reliable or faster or?
I think it's faster. Because of the mail client I've got on here, I give an email, I might not get a
Oh, yeah.
notification of it for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think
But
I got
the
it.
text I get immediately.
Okay.
Well, I would. There's this app called Notify, NTFY, and there's another one, this one's free, but you need to like set up some API keys and stuff for your Arduino. There's another one called Push something, Pushing Box. Where is it? Push over. That one's just Twitter. I think that was $5. I think I paid $5 for that. They both rely on data, so if you don't have data, but they're almost cool.
And it's text.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
this one, you know, says,
Yeah.
so I've got a little script set up that will ping one of my devices every now and then.
You know,
And it'll send me a thing that says, hey, or sometimes it'll say Tom.
I guess I did this and was happy with it, but I got off on really.
Well, but see, I was curious though, because I think SMS might be more reliable because it doesn't require the data.
I don't send any data.
Everybody gets unlimited text anymore.
Yeah, mine doesn't require the data.
Right?
Yeah, and if you send it as a
Mail.net.
yeah, if you send your text as whatever that Google thing is, then it's a data hog. But if you send it as a regular SMS message, it doesn't require data at all. But that was my curiosity because I was like, I would much rather not use my data on something, even though a text message is like tiny.
And one of the advantages of running a Linux mail server instead of Windows is you can send small text or small messages. I wouldn't try that with Outlook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do I keep getting windmail.dat?
It's more of a curiosity thing, because if there was a way to send text, an actual text.
I've been doing this with text
Yeah.
for more than 15 years through multiple providers.
Yeah.
For me, it was more like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I relied on my son. Like I said, he does programming, he didn't want to have if his house burned down, he lose all his stuff, so every night he backs up stuff, so he figured a way to tunnel into my network.
It's easy.
But back in the day, I mean, he had this server set up to ping my house and find the IP address and then go in and, hey, here's his little backup server, and he's got a terabyte, backup hard drive. Well, we were with Cincinnati Bell, we're still with fiber now, but they, for a while there, it seemed like they were changing IP addresses randomly.
Really?
Yeah, and so he'd check in, it's been, 10 years, but early on, so he'd check in and he pinned the server and
Couldn't get back.
couldn't tunnel into my house, and it's come to find out the IP address was changed.
Yeah, they'll do that periodically.
So what he did was write an app.
They don't guarantee you an IP address.
He basically wrote an app that runs on his server.
Yeah.
And go out and say, what's my IP? And then it send him the. So, you know. When you have the IP, you can tell him that. And but if for some reason, his server on my house would go down or whatever, they would, my server would send him an email. Because he was on a computer rather than phone, you know, it didn't do him any good to get a text. So that's why
That makes sense.
everything was based on email, and, you know, I just hacked his. It's okay. Oh, if that happens, then send me, you know, so I changed the address to me. So I don't know what I was doing. It worked.
I know, you know, email's slow. Sometimes I don't get the emails on my phone for
You're right.
several minutes.
Yeah, you're right. I think I never did that situation.
Other times it comes like that, but pushovers like $5. They're really one-time deal. Easy to set up. They've even got an Arduino library, piece of cake. And this notify or NTFS, I just found it recently, but it's 100% free. You set up your own topics.
That would be handy.
You just have to figure out how to get your Arduino to send it.
Yeah.
It's not hard. Well, your Raspberry Pi to send them.
Right.
It's not entirely too hard, but I think on their website, they actually show you the command, but you have to figure out how to do the command it's not a shell script, it's in Python or something.
I was thinking maybe you had set up a daemon too that runs cron job in the background.
I didn't. I just set it up to do something.
I have every IP address I've had back to 2017. April 30th, 2017.
Yeah, all the same.
For all of 2017, my IP address changed 5 times.
Really?
Yeah.
It changed.
For 2018, it changed 5 or 6 times. 2019, about the same. I mean, yeah, that's the list.
Yeah.
I run a thing, so I pay for DNS through a company called afraid.org. And I've got basically just this secret URL. It's afraid.org / and then something on the string.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read that, afraid.org knows what my IP address is. And if it's different than what it was the last time I looked for that web page, they ask about my DNS. So now externally, plug.org has this address. If it changes, that's how it knows. And every time it changes, it knows over here.
Is that like duck DNS?
Pretty similar, yeah. It's about the same. The fellow that runs afraid.org, I know him personally. I've run into him at conventions and stuff. And it's a little more expensive than I'd like to pay, but I can have 5 domains and virtually unlimited subdomains. So, whatever.
Yeah.
If anybody ever wants to run a subdomain at plug.org, like,
Good deal.
yeah, here's the script, you run it, and now you can always get to your machine as mark.club.org or mike.club.org, whatever you want.
Is GoDaddy one of those kind of sites? No, I never had it.
No, GoDaddy is a hosting service.
Okay.
They have machines that you can run a website on, but I don't think they play too much with DNS. you either host with GoDaddy or they want
Yeah.
to do
I was thinking of Sonny, some of his stuff on that.
it. You disagree?
Aren't they still a register? So you can register your domain with them?
I don't know.
I've never hosted with GoDaddy. I have used them to register domains before.
That's what I think their son's.
I do my registrar through, Register for Less. It's $14 a year.
Yeah,
Well,
back in the day, GoDaddy was the cheapest around,
yeah,
and that's not true anymore. That is way not true anymore.
afraid.org is good for DNS and, yeah, the Register for Less, I'm real happy. I've registered domains for myself, for others, companies through them. Again, they have a small staff of Linux guys. I called them up once, figuring to leave a message about 9 o'clock at night, and the guy picks up the phone and we talked for 30 minutes. And he fixed my issue in 3. Like, oh, you need to update the search line in your etsyresolve.com file. Okay. But I don't know, that's what I seek out, something where I can talk to a person.
Yeah, heck yeah.
But yeah, he's like, yeah, I got no other calls, and we talked for quite a while.
I enjoy talking to that.
They have a nice infrastructure.
So you've got the new meeting announcement and it has the link to Zoom with the password, copy the password, click the link, click the connection and put the password in would be good if you want to do that.
Or you could just show up.
Yeah. Show up. So yeah, competition between me and Leroy, it's best looking. We don't need any competition in here.
And then one day when he got his phone.
Okay.
Oh, it's fine. It's just way past time. Okay. See you next week.
That's hilarious.
See you again, Mark.